From Apex Legends to Marvel Snap, Vampire Survivors, and so many others, we've seen the release of some of the best mobile games of all time this year. So today, I'm gonna be ranking the 43 most interesting AAA and indie mobile games of 2022 into one huge mobile games of 2022 tier list. Some of these games were huge letdowns, but some have spawned entirely new game genres, and others were hidden gems that you probably didn't even notice. So by the end of this video, you'll have a great overview over which games you might have missed this year and which to just kinda maybe stay away from. I'm only covering the games that I have played this year, by the way, so be sure to let me know your own favorites in the comments and check out my games discovery platform Mini Review for lots more great mobile games. And then let's kick the show off in no particular order with Xeno Command, which is a fun real-time strategy game mixed with roguelite progression and upgrades by the developers of Soul Knight. It has 4 unique heroes to pick from, each with a different set of buildings, units to spawn, and skills to use, and most importantly, the gameplay is just good old fun in this game, and there's lots of it since the 4th campaign is always randomly generated. The price is $5 with no ads and no additional in-app purchases, and I really like this one, so I think this deserves an A tier spot. Catalyst Black also finally released this year, and as the newest game from the developers of Vainglory, I was really excited about this one. I wanted to like it so badly, but it just doesn't feel like it's fully there yet, and it also has some pay-to-win problems to deal with. The moment-to-moment gameplay is actually fun though, so I'm gonna land it here in the C tier row and then hope it improves next year. The next game is Gunfire Reborn, and if you love roguelike progression and first-person shooters, I think you'll love this one because rushing through endless rooms full of enemies and bosses just felt fantastic, and it even also has co-op multiplayer. It's sitting at a 100% positive user score on Mini Review, and as one of my personal favorite roguelikes of all time, frankly, I can't give this anything but an S tier rank. Now, if you'd asked me last year about the best roguelike combat racing games on mobile, I wouldn't even have been able to give you an answer, but this year we got Road Redemption Mobile, and it's actually surprisingly good with lots of difficult missions, controller support, and a fast-paced arcade-like gameplay experience. So to me, this is a clear A tier game. If a 2D Souls-like action RPG with over 20 challenging bosses and a large open world is what you're looking for, Watcher Chronicles also released this year. The game is really challenging and fun, but the controls are a bit finicky, so let's put it here in the B tier row. Pawnbarian is another great game that released this year, and it's basically a mix of a dungeon crawler, a deck builder, and a chess-inspired puzzle game where we move our character using the movement patterns of chess pieces. This game is a lot of fun, and it also has an 86% positive score on Mini Review, so I think it's deserving of the A tier row. Now, some of the games that released this year weren't exactly great, and the 3D MMORPG Ni no Kuni Crossworlds is one of them. It looks amazing, I mean, just look at this, but that's about all it's got going for it, as the gameplay is boring, everything is automated, and it's full of heavy pay-to-win elements. So I'm gonna throw this down there in the E tier row. Dungeons of Dreadrock, on the other hand, very positively surprised me. It's essentially a dungeon crawling action puzzle game with a unique level design that makes every level feel as one coherent universe. I had a lot of fun with this one, so it'll get an A tier spot. Streets of Rage 4 also released on mobile this year, and this port is really well made, and it features a lot of fast-paced beat-em-up fighting action, several characters to play as, and even Bluetooth controller support. So while the touch controls may take a bit to get used to, this is still one of the best fighting games to release lately, so let's land it here in the A tier row. The next game is 20 Minutes Till Dawn, which is a fun twin-stick take on the new reverse bullet hell genre that Vampire Survivors and Magic Survival has helped popularize. It's super fast-paced, the art style is amazing, and it also has a 93% positive user score on Mini Review, so this definitely deserves an S tier spot, and if you like these games, I've actually got an entire video dedicated to just this new genre as well. The much-hyped open-world action RPG Tower of Fantasy also released this year. This was supposed to be the Genshin Impact killer of 2022, and while it isn't a horrible game, it just suffers from trying to do too much at once, which leads to an unpolished gameplay experience. And the monetization also isn't exactly great, so let's put this here in the D tier row. Exoracer was just great though. It's a unique and fast-paced multiplayer platformer where we compete against 3 other players in real time to finish these small 2D platforming levels as fast as possible. The simple controls work well, and the gameplay is highly addictive, so as an arcade platformer, it's difficult to do any better than this. Let's place it in the A tier row. It's also completely free, by the way, just like a sub to this channel is, so You might consider that if you like this video. Now, the next game is Monoposto, which is a high-quality indie Formula 1-inspired simulation racing game. And what surprised me the most about this one was just how well it gave me that sense of driving at blazingly fast speeds. It really did that well, and I enjoyed it for that. The multiplayer isn't exactly very active though, and while there is Bluetooth controller support, which is great, the UI buttons aren't super intuitive, and there's no tutorial either, so I'm gonna land this in the B tier row. Super Auto Pets also finally got its full release this year across Android and iOS, and if you've ever played auto chess or enjoyed auto battlers, this is honestly as good as those genres get in my opinion. The gameplay is super fun, there's no pay to win whatsoever, and the quick matches are just perfect for mobile. This is an S tier game, and it also has a 90% positive user score on Mean Review. Now, one of the games I thought was gonna be really bad, but that then positively surprised me this year is Marvel Snap, because as a more casual yet still strategically deep collectible card game, this was just right up my alley. And with a more free-to-play friendly approach than most games in this genre, I can see myself playing this for months to come. So I'm gonna place it here in the A tier row, but if it had friendly battles, it could almost sneak its way into S tier territory. But I can't exactly say the same for Disney Mirrorverse though. I actually really enjoyed the hero-based action RPG gameplay with real-time combat, but the game very quickly turned into an auto-combat grind for resources used for upgrades and gacha pulls. So what could have actually been a great game gets ruined by auto systems and bad monetization practices. So you know what? This gets a D for Disney because I can't really recommend this one. Next up is Bot Royale, which is a fun 2D Worms-like artillery tank game with fast-paced battle royale game modes played in real time. The gameplay is fun, the monetization is perfect, and if it wasn't for the sometimes dodgy matchmaking, this could definitely have been an A tier game, but for now, I'll land it here in the B tier row. The follow-up to Labyrinth Legend was also actually pretty great, and I definitely enjoyed its unique hack-and-slash action RPG gameplay and dungeon crawling progression systems. So the gameplay is good in this one, but the UI is somewhat unpolished, so I'm gonna place this next to Bot Royale as a B tier game that is still definitely worth checking out though if you enjoy this genre. Torchlight Infinite was another one of those high-profile action RPG releases this year. It's basically a brighter and more colorful Diablo Immortal alternative, and I really did enjoy some of its unique features, such as the deep skill customization system. It does not have co-op content though, and there's no Bluetooth controller support either, not to mention that the monetization does provide pay-to-win advantages. I definitely do think you can have fun with the single-player content, but I just can't place this higher than the C tier row. The next game, Knotwords, is basically a crossword mixed with Sudoku, and I actually liked it a lot more than I thought I would. It's minimalistic, the puzzles are logic-based, and there's a lot of content to dive into. So in my book, this is an A tier game. NIKKE is a sci-fi gacha RPG cover shooter, and I'll make this short because I really didn't like this one. Its gameplay is almost entirely automated, the art style is overly sexualized, the gacha pull rates are bad, and it's heavily pay to win as well. So I'm gonna place this in the E tier row. Getting back to the good games though, the chaotically fun racing game Wreckfest finally got a mobile port this year. It includes everything from Demolition Derby to traditional races, it has controller support, and the many game modes even include online multiplayer. It's a premium game with a few in-app purchases for DLC packs with extra cars and content, and I'm gonna place it here in the A tier row as you can't really go wrong with this one. We also got a unique new tower defense game this year in the form of Isle of Arrows, which has us continuously place towers, extra roads, and flags that expand the game area while defending against waves of enemies. The simple art style is just amazing in this game, and people seem to really love this one. It didn't hook me just as much as I thought it would though, so for me this is a B tier game, but definitely do check it out because for you it might be A tier. And if you like tower defense games, I also did an entire video about them earlier this year that you can watch after this one. Next up is Pixel Tribe, an incremental and semi-idle village building game with resource management, turn-based combat, and lots of neat RPG elements. I had a lot of fun with expanding my village, collecting resources, cooking food, crafting gear, and sending my Vikings out on PvE raids. And with a pretty decent monetization as well, I think this deserves an A tier spot as one of the most interesting idle games I've played lately. And then, surprise! Vampire Survivors finally made its way to a full mobile release as well. If you enjoy the reverse bullet hell genre and you've played games like Magic Survival and 20 Minutes Till Dawn, this is just a no-brainer. To me, it's one of the best in its genre, so I'm gonna place this among the S tier games. Another idle game that released this year was Nordicandia, which is basically a mix of non-stop nights and Diablo. So it features a lot of loot to find and upgrade, endless enemies that we fight automatically, and super fast progression. I did enjoy the game, but the UI and art style is a bit confusing, and that's why I'm gonna place it here in the B tier row. The next game is the open world sandbox survival MMORPG Chimerland, and I had really high hopes for this one, but there are just so many bugs, the menus and systems are pretty convoluted to understand, and it just feels like a game game that needs at least another year of development before it's ready for full release, honestly. The idea for the game does show promise though, so I'm gonna give it a D tier score, although in its current state, it might actually be more of an E tier game. Next up though is Neoverse, which is a fun Slay the Spire style roguelike deck builder with multiple character classes, 3 game modes, and a high quality 3D universe in which our character fights the enemy monsters based on the cards we use. The gameplay is great and the monetization is also good, so I'm gonna place this in the A tier row. Supercell and Space Ape also dropped Boom Beach Frontlines this year, which is a 9 vs 9 multiplayer action shooter that plays a bit like a very simplified casual MOBA game. And the goal is to capture and control 2 areas on the map and then build a mini base to protect it against the opposing players. The monetization of this game definitely gives a pay to win advantage, but I could still see some people really enjoy its actual gameplay, so let's place this in the C tier row because the gameplay is actually good, we just need more of it basically. In the world of turn-based tactical PvP games, we also got Phobies this year, which I found especially interesting because it has both real-time multiplayer and asynchronous multiplayer. The art style is also really great and the entire game just oozes of high production quality, including cross-platform play between Android, iOS and PC. So the gameplay is clearly A tier, but I'm gonna have to let the monetization drag it down to the B tier row. The mobile version of Apex Legends finally released this year as well, and to my big surprise, it actually made me wanna play a Battle Royale game again. I like that it's hero-based, that its matches are relatively quick, which is perfect for mobile, and that it's super polished with lots of attention to detail, like being able to pick between first and third person views. To me, this has got to be an S tier game within the Battle Royale genre, and it also has an 88% positive user score on Mino Review. Next up is Crossout Mobile, a post-apocalyptic vehicle combat PvP action game where we design our own over-the-top armored vehicle and then use it to destroy other players in various game modes. Overall, the game lacks a bit of polish to really be on par with its PC and console counterparts, and the monetization also gives a pay-to-win advantage. It is decently fun though, but I just can't give it more than a D tier score. I also have to include Idle Research, which is frankly the most in-depth idle game I've played this year, so if you're just getting into it, just know that there's a lot more to this game than what it seems at first, and I really enjoyed that. The biggest downside is that the UI does take a bit to get into, but it's still absolutely deserving of an A tier score. This is also the last idle game of today, but I did an entire video about the best of these games lately, so check that out if you want to find more of them. And then Diablo Immortal. What can I say about this one? It is high quality and the art style looks amazing, but as everyone knows, the monetization is horrible and has only gotten worse over time as well. I've even had to go back multiple times throughout the year to revise my Mino review of this game because the monetization just, it kept getting worse and I kept realizing more and more of just how bad it actually was. So I'm gonna give it an E tier score because the gameplay itself is actually fun, but please do not get sucked into the monetization. The gameplay is the only reason that it doesn't get an F tier score. So either just don't play it at all or just stop if you feel like you have to start spending money on it. If you want an action RPG though, another alternative is Undecember, which also has interesting co-op raids and dungeons, lots of customizable skills, and an overall polished gameplay experience. The monetization is still far from perfect though, focusing in this game on selling convenience features such as pets that pick up loot for us and extra inventory space. But at least it does not have PvP, and I do still think it's a better alternative than Diablo, so I'm gonna give this a C tier score to indicate that. It's just really frustrating that we can't get an actual good action RPG on mobile. Hopefully that'll happen next year. Path of Exile, please help us. Please save action RPG mobile gaming. I beg you. But let's get back to the good games, because Demon Survival also released this year. This is another one of those reverse bullet hell games, but this one stands out because of its level-based progression that leads to quick 2 to 5 minute play sessions. After having played a lot of these games this year, I actually found this new approach quite refreshing, and the game is overall very polished as well, with just a $2.99 in-app purchase to remove all ads from the game. So I'm gonna land this in the A tier row. Next up is another unique tower defense game called Candy Disaster, where you place springboards, wall spikes, human cannons, and other wacky traps to defeat the waves of enemies. The very bright and colorful art style is just great in this game, and there are even boss fights and a small story being told throughout, so the paid version of this game is pretty solid, and I'll land it here in the B tier row. The free version though is very heavily monetized, so I can't recommend that one. Now, while a great Trackmania game is still to be seen on mobile, we did at least get Hot Lap Link this year, and I just loved it. It has the same fast-paced arcade gameplay as Trackmania, including track levels with loops and jumps, and an entirely competitive gameplay experience with online leaderboards. There's a lot of content to dive into, and the game also looks and controls really well, both with touch and Bluetooth controllers, so this is a clear S-tier game that also sits at a 100% user score on Mean Review. The Vampire Survivors alternative Survivor.io also released this year, with a marketing budget so large that I think it's been almost impossible to avoid its advertisements. I've been shown them so many times on YouTube, so let me know if that has happened to you as well. The gameplay is actually decent, but the monetization is pretty bad and even includes an energy system, so I'm gonna place it here in the C-tier row because there are simply much better games in this genre out there. Another game that got a mobile port this year was Dicey Dungeon, which is a turn-based roguelike deck builder where combat relies on dice rolls. This game has great humor, a fun core gameplay loop, and a nice feeling of overall progression, and most importantly, it's just good old fun to play, so this is a clear A-tier game. We also got Dislyte, which is a new music-themed strategy gacha RPG game from the developers behind AFK Arena. While it has a lot of content to play through, the game quickly becomes super grindy though, which means we have to rely on its auto systems. I did not enjoy that, and the monetization also wasn't exactly great in this game, so while it is a high-quality game and it's definitely very polished, I can't give it more than a C-tier score. Another game that released this year was Special Agent Cyberduck, which just felt like a good old mobile action platformer, you know, without all the gacha systems and the 30-day login rewards and so on. It has a neat pixel art style and features 80 levels full of enemies, boss fights, and secret areas to discover. It's also super punishing, but the controls work well, and I think it does deserve a B-tier spot. We also got a mobile version of Urban Trial this year, which is a casual but fast-paced stunt bike racing game where we complete 30 unique tracks with different objectives, such as finishing as fast as possible or scoring the most points within a time limit. I found the touch controls to work pretty well, but it also does have controller support, and with a single $4.99 in-app purchase to unlock the full game after level 4, it's pretty low risk to give it a try, so I think I'm gonna land this in the B-tier row. There you go, my friends, 43 games that released this year. Let me know what you think about them in the comments down below, and check out this video next for all the best games from last year.